Busy, snazzy and booming. Welcome to Manchester's nightlife. It's Friday night and the city's pulse is racing as 250,000 people descend upon Manchester's 500 licensed clubs, pubs and bars to have a good time. Welcome to Party Town, the UK's fastest growing nightlife economy outside London. But Manchester's nightlife has always had its dangers. Drunken brawls and violent crime thrive on a toxic mixture of drugs and alcohol. And for those attacked, robbed or harmed, the heaving city suddenly becomes a dark, lonely place. And it does so despite the best efforts of the police.
The reality of the nighttime economy in Manchester is we've got more than 500 licensed premises in 2.2 square miles. So whichever night of the week you look at it, it's really busy. The number of police we have on the streets depends on what events and what evening it is. But tonight's Friday and we've got about 80 police officers on the streets of Manchester.
The most recent casualty of Manchester's nightlife is this young man. On the night of the 28th of December 2013, 17-year-old Adam Pickup left a busy cafe in the city centre and he never returned home. The tragedy shocked the city and shed light to the dark side of the fun in Manchester. The public did what it does best, mobilise, and they started something remarkable. The Manchester Street Angels is a group of trained volunteers. They patrol Manchester streets every Friday night and help the vulnerable.
When we discovered the news with the tragic death of Adam Pickup, I personally felt obviously saddened by the tragic news, and also felt like that could have been any family member, a brother, a friend. So for me, it kind of hit a strong chord. So we kind of all got together and just wanted to pull together like a community should and see if we could get together and make a difference in the city centre. We signed up with CNI, which is the Christian Nightlife Initiatives. We signed up with those and kind of went from there, but we had to do lots of informal meetings, then a lot of serious meetings, I suppose, quite major. We met up with the GMP Inspector Spurgeon. So we went through the ropes with him and kind of went from there, really. To get where we are now, we had to undertake foot patrols. We called them feet on the street appeals. We basically headed out in groups of 10, 15 people with the councillors for the town hall and also Inspector Spurgeon. He spent time, his personal time, not work time, personal time, showing us around the city centre, showing us different hotspots and areas where we may want to patrol in the future. And we then did first aid training. We did conflict awareness training. We've previously had some CSE training, which is child sexual exploitation, just so we're more aware on the streets and we can look for the signs and alert the authorities. We've also had suicide and crisis intervention training. So there's some angels that are fully trained negotiators. So if there's an emergency or a crisis, say someone wants to threaten to jump off a building or something, we potentially could get the phone call to go and assist the police in that situation.
The night patrol begins at the police station across the town hall with a security briefing.
Okay, in terms of events tonight, warehouse projects at Store Street. 50 Cent is on at the Manchester Arena. That will kick out at about 10:30, 11:15. We'll see them at the beginning of the evening and make sure that they know what's happening, if there's any intelligence that we need to share. They'll then go out on the streets and they will find vulnerable people. We may find vulnerable people that they can help us with, and we're in contact all the time on the radio or through the CCTV room or on phones.
Thank you.
Back at base at the Great Northern, the Angels do the final preps and a quick gear check. Then they are off.
We have 2 teams a night, so in each team there'll be 4 or 5 members usually. We will have a designated first aider, a secondary first aider. We will have a designated radio person who's on the communications. We will then have support, but we normally set off around about 10:30. The 2 teams go out separate times, but there's always a team out on the street. So say the first team goes out and they've managed to get to the locks. They've moved on to the locks then and gone down to the other side of Deansgate. The next team's already at locks, so there's a mirror image basically. So there's always a team of Angels on the streets no matter where.
So you're street cleaners as well?
Yes, we are, just to stop any accidents happening, because any bottle's a weapon, so you have to be really careful.
Our usual shift it's split into 2 sessions, we'll say. Our first patrol is usually the quieter patrol, it's the more friendly patrol.
All the things you do, it was called yellow.
You can assess it like tonight, I think, for example, we went out and there's a big club night on, so that instantly tells me that, yeah, this first walk, nothing, they're all queuing up to get inside. Next walk, they'll be out on the front, there'll be people trying to take advantage of other people. The second round is always when everything's happening.
Yet again, a quiet night goes wild. A fight breaks out at Deansgate Locks.
We're waiting, the police have called an ambulance. This gentleman damaged his nose in whatever happened. So we have to hold on just to make sure the ambulance comes and he gets away safely and gets treatment he needs. So we've recalled the ambulance from the other group of Angels just to make sure.
We have checked him. We've looked in his ears and his nose to check that there's no residual damage, but it's just dried blood.
Close your eyes, brother. Can you breathe okay? No problem breathing. Yeah.
Alright, thanks very much. Right, bye. 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
Yeah.
Do you want to hang on with you? Well, we will. We will.
Just wait.
We will.
The biggest thanks that I've got from the members of the public, I think, are some of the incidental things that they say to you, and they are very grateful about the work you do when you ask them. Perhaps on reflection, thinking of some of the vulnerable people that we've helped along the way. We've got them in the taxi, we've picked them up off the floor, we've cleaned them down, we've made them a little bit more dignified and called for help. Thinking about maybe, that could have been me or my family in their shoes, and seeing them on the way, the reward also comes from within, that you can actually think, yeah, That helped. That made a difference. Whether they'll remember you or the Angels or not, you know that you got them home safely, or you did your best for them at the time.
It's okay. You've got a very nice day. Okay, take care. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Street Angels are brilliant.
Since the last year of doing this job, I suppose how it's changed is I'm a bit more aware of the amount of vulnerable people that are out there. It's not thinkable that we go out on a weekly basis and easily can deal with 10 people, and it is just, it might not be anything massive, it might just be that they're a little bit too drunk and they just need somebody to sit with them for 10 minutes or give them a drink of water, but that's still a risk. And I think for me it just changed I'm so aware of how nightlife is and how dangerous it is and how vulnerable young people are.
Okay, go on, mate. Yeah, Pete, cheers again for that, mate. Thank you very much.
Oh, the guy's gone now, so there's no trouble at that venue. I think we are making a difference. We can see the difference on the streets now from when we first started. The venues are all saying like, oh, you know, it's nice to have you here still, and don't leave us yet because we still need you. And we are needed on the streets. So I think if we looked at the crime rates from last year to this year, there may be a difference in the alcohol-related issues. We've grown, we're more stable now. The Fridays are kind of looking after themselves now, so we're now branching out to Saturdays. And then after the Saturdays, once the Saturdays looking after themselves, we're hoping to go to another area in January. So there'll be 4 lots of Angel teams on a Friday and a Saturday night looking out in 2 different areas. So it's quite exciting for the future.
1 year on patrol. The story of the Manchester Street Angels has only just started, and there's a lot more love to give.
Yeah. Are you on telly?
Yes.
Can we go on telly?
So,
Sister.
like this one.
We're on